A long time ago, a war broke out between two kingdoms. One was large and powerful, while the other was small and weak. The small kingdom was sure they would be defeated if they went to war. The army of the large kingdom was about 5 times bigger than theirs. The generals of the small kingdom were scared and refused to fight. They knew that with such a small army, it would be foolish to go to war against a much larger army. They thought it would be better to surrender and accept all the demands of the large kingdom without fighting. Even the king of the small kingdom couldn't put much pressure on his generals and soldiers because he understood their fears. However, the king was very brave. He believed that it was important to fight, even if the odds were against them. But, seeing the reluctance of his generals and soldiers, the king decided to seek help. He went to visit a wise monk who was famous in his state and respected by everyone. The king explained his concerns to the monk, who listened carefully. After hearing the king's worries, the monk said something surprising. He told the king to make him the commander of the army. The king was shocked. "You don't have any experience in war," the king said. "How can you lead the army?" The monk smiled and replied, "King, you do as I say." The king had great faith in the monk, so he agreed and made the monk the commander of the army. When the soldiers heard that the monk, who had no experience in war and didn't even know how to hold a sword, was going to lead them, they became even more frightened. But the monk was full of enthusiasm, and the king, trusting the monk, stood by his decision. The soldiers had no choice but to prepare for war under the monk's leadership. As the army set out for battle, they passed by a small temple. The monk stopped the soldiers and said, "Let us pray to God and ask for guidance. We will seek a sign from the Almighty to know whether we will win this war or lose. If we receive a sign that we will lose, we will return home. But if there is a sign of victory, we will proceed to war without any fear." Although the soldiers were scared, they all gathered outside the temple. The monk prayed earnestly for some time. Then he took a coin from his pocket and said to the soldiers, "I will toss this coin. If it lands on heads, it means we will lose the battle and we will return home. If it lands on tails, it means our victory is certain and we will go to war without any worries." The soldiers watched the monk with great curiosity and nervousness. The monk tossed the coin into the air. When it landed, it showed tails. The monk shouted with joy, "Victory is certain. The Almighty has given us a sign. We have nothing to fear." Hearing this, the soldiers were filled with enthusiasm. Hope for victory surged in their hearts. They now believed that their victory was assured. With newfound confidence, they marched straight into battle, ready to face the enemy. A ferocious battle ensued between the two armies. The soldiers of the small kingdom, inspired by the monk's words, fought with great courage and determination. Their belief in victory gave them strength, and soon they began to overpower the larger enemy forces. After a long and hard-fought battle, the small kingdom's army emerged victorious. The enemy, despite their larger numbers, was defeated. On their way back home, the army passed by the same temple where they had prayed earlier. The monk said, "Let us stop and thank the Almighty for our victory." The soldiers gathered outside the temple and began to thank God for their success. They were grateful for the sign they had received, which had given them the courage to fight and win. They said, "Oh God, thank you for making us victorious. Had you not given us that sign, we would have lost." Just then, the monk stepped forward and said, "Before you thank God, there is something I must show you." The soldiers looked at the monk with curiosity. The monk took the coin out of his pocket and showed it to them. To their surprise, they saw that it was a trick coin with tails on both sides. The coin could never land on heads. The monk smiled and said, "First, thank yourselves. You won this battle because of your self-belief, not because of the coin or any sign from the Almighty. When you were sure of your victory, you fought with all your heart and strength. If you hadn't believed in your victory, you would have lost, no matter how many soldiers you had. The biggest reason for your victory was your firm belief that you would win. The soldiers were stunned. They realized that their victory wasn't just due to luck or divine intervention, but was largely because they believed in themselves. In life, success often depends on whether we believe in ourselves. Self-confidence is crucial in any endeavor. Sometimes, people with positive thinking and strong self-belief can achieve great things, even if they have fewer resources or less talent. On the other hand, people with low self-belief, even if they have all the skills and resources, often fail because they doubt themselves. It's not enough to be capable. It's more important to have hope and self-belief. When you give your full dedication to something and you truly believe in your success, you will achieve it. The true battle was fought in our minds and hearts. There is great power in positive thinking. It helps a person make the right decisions, even in the worst situations, and find a way out of them.